Fast, versatile and built to last, the English electric Canberra bomber was a Cold War legend. But how did this British jet become a favourite across the world? Let's find out. The story of the Canberra begins in the aftermath of World War II. The Royal Air Force needed a high-altitude fast bomber to replace the aging Mosquito. English Electric, a company with actually very little experience in bomber design, stepped up, and in 1949 the first it was the RAF's first jet-powered bomber. It set new records, reaching 570 miles an hour and flying at altitudes of over 45,000 feet. For the 1950s, that was groundbreaking. In total, over 1,300 Canberras were built, and they served in more than a dozen air forces worldwide. But what good's a bomber if it can't deliver? The Canberra actually saw action in conflicts around the world, from reconnaissance missions during Suez, and even though they've never officially been admitted, over the Soviet Union, where at least one was damaged. It's worth noting that the Americans also used them for the same thing until they were replaced by the U-2. But they were also used for ground attacks extensively across the world, notable in Vietnam with the Australian and New Zealand Air Forces. And they also had a high altitude capability, making it very hard to shoot down, with the end result that unusually they were actually used by the US Air Force in a slightly modified version as the B-57. Now, it wasn't just about bombing. We've mentioned it became a key player in reconnaissance, mapping enemy positions from above, right the way through to Iraq and Afghanistan. The RAF only retired them in 2006. And during the Falklands, there was a very interesting operation planned. It was planned to move two of them to Chile. And these would then be operated from Chilean air bases for reconnaissance and potentially even strike missions against Argentine forces, flown by RAF crew. It never actually occurred. The operation was called off, but the aircraft had actually made it as far as Belize before that happened. Now, it was very versatile, with the end result, as we said, it was used by a number of air forces. The RAF was the primary operator, but obviously the US Air Force we've mentioned, the Royal Australian Air Force, and the Indian Air Force, they used it extensively. It was also used by Argentina, although a second batch was stopped from going there by the Falklands War. Venezuela, Peru, South Africa, Rhodesia, France, New Zealand, Pakistan, Sweden, and even West Germany used some of them. Now, this example is WV-787, and it's on display at the Newark Air Museum in Nottinghamshire. This aircraft was used as a test bed for various things, including radar, electronic warfare systems, and even for use as a de-icing aircraft, rather unusually. It's now preserved. You can have a good look around it, as I've done here. And it's amazing to me that this aircraft was still in use by the RAF in 2006, over 50 years after it first went into service, and some are still flying today for high altitude research. So overall, it was really a jet-powered pioneer, the first British medium bomber that was jet-powered, and it served throughout the Cold War and beyond. It's left quite a legacy for an aircraft that really has its origins in the Second World War. But what's your favourite Cold War aircraft? Let me know in the comments. You never know, I might be able to do a video on it.